Hi everybody, it's Tammy back in the kitchen, and today's recipe is going to focus on heart health. It's February and it's heart month, and of course Valentine's Day is coming, and in my mind nothing says that you care about someone more than cooking them a delicious meal. So skip the flowers and the chocolates and cook someone a meal. This meal, actually, anybody can do this. We're going to focus on fish because fatty varieties of fish like trout and salmon and tuna, char and sardines, all those really fatty, oily types of fish are excellent for our heart health, and that shows someone you love them by serving them something that's healthy and delicious for them. Anybody can cook fish. It cooks fairly quickly. This fish isn't going to cook quite as quick as just a fillet of fish because we're going to actually stuff it. It's going to be 2 layers and it's going to be delicious. I serve this recipe quite often. So what I've done is I've prepared a pan already, and I have one side of the fillet already on the pan, and what I have here is trout, and I put a piece of parchment and I put some kitchen twine, so very thin kitchen twine, underneath the salmon fillet going this way, and then one piece going lengthwise. Okay, and I've put a little bit of soft cheese, so I have a flavored cream cheese. It's got herbs and garlic in it, and that's what I'm going to spread on each side of the fillet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chunk it up a little bit, and what I'm also going to do is, if you have thinner parts of the fish, like this end part or little side parts that are really thin, you want to fold those in, only because they are going to cook a lot faster than the thicker portions of this fillet. And then what I'm going to do is just spread that cream cheese onto this fillet, and don't worry about getting every little portion, because as this cooks in the oven, it is going to kind of puff a little bit, the cheese, and it's going to melt, and it's going to, of course, spread out, so you don't have to worry about covering every little corner and nook and cranny. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some spinach. So I just had frozen chopped spinach, and I thawed it in the fridge overnight, and I'm just going to add a wonderful layer of that spinach in. So we're going to get some veggies, of course, with our cheese. I'm just going to spread that out. And this spinach, I actually drained it. So I did squeeze out as much liquid as I could from the spinach, just because you don't want it to be soaking wet when it goes into the fish. Otherwise, it'll just run all over the place and make a big mess. We don't want that. All right. The other thing I did was I took just some button mushrooms. You can use any mushroom that you like, and I just sautéed them off in a pan with a little bit of salt and pepper and olive oil. Made sure all the liquid evaporated so that they were a little bit brown and very dry. And then right at the end of that cooking process, it took about maybe 6 minutes because the heat was sort of medium heat. I added about a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and then I just added that in, and I let it reduce for about 30 to 60 seconds and came up with these beautiful balsamic mushrooms. And I'm just going to put a layer of those on, and actually I should be doing this on the side that's sitting there, but that's quite okay. I'm going to do a trick here, and we're going to flip this. I'm going to be an expert flipper. I should have been putting all these toppings onto the piece that's sitting on my pan, so I'm just going to switch up my pan. The fillet on the pan with the fillet that you can see. So let's change spots so we can get a better look at this. So again, here's this piece. I'm going to take this piece off though, because all it has is the cheese. And on this piece, I did fold in the sides on one side where the fish was very, very thin. See, this is the mistake you make sometimes when you're doing cooking videos. Okay, so I'm just going to replace all this string so that it goes 3 pieces or even 4 pieces crossways, 1 piece lengthways, and then we're just going to lay the fillet that has all the toppings, the one I should have had down, on that right there. Beautiful. Now I'm going to take this piece that just has the cheese and I'm going to flip it and put it on top. So you've got this wonderful sandwich of cheese and mushrooms and spinach. And then I'm just going to tie it off. I like to tie it because as the fish cooks, the ingredients in the middle do puff up a bit, and it would just knock the top layer off. So in order to kind of keep it all together and looking really good when it comes out of the oven for the people you're preparing, we're just going to tie it down a little here so it stays in place. And if anything falls out, just tuck it back in. And right now I have the oven at 400 degrees, and this is going to probably take about 40 minutes. And I'm going to show you because I've got one already prepared, of course, so that you can see the finished product. So you have your 400 degree oven going and nice and hot and ready to go. And I'm just going to tie off this last piece that goes across the whole length. I might have went a little overboard on the length, but that's okay. Okay. So this is going to go into the oven now, and I'll take out my other fillet. What I'm going to do though is I'm just going to wash my hands so that I can get my oven mitt on, and I'll be right back. Really important to always wash your hands really good, especially when you're going from handling raw foods to cooked foods. So let's get this pan out. We'll get this one in. I'm just going to, my oven reset. I'm just going to set it back to proper temperature. I'm not sure why that reset, but okay. So here we have our finished fillet, and I am going to get this out of the way. So when you're plating this, you want to take your fillet, you want to have something on the base, something to sort of prop your fillet up on. So I'll just back this up a bit so you can see. So I have made a little bit of brown rice, and this brown rice actually completely trusted myself. I measured all the proportions correctly, did not lift the lid, and then took it off the element once it was cooked for the 20 minutes. This is 20-minute brown rice. And I actually cooked it in not just plain water, but I put a little bit of bouillon cube in to give it some extra flavor. And it's beautiful. It's perfect. And that's because I didn't lift the lid. Anyways, I'm going to make a little pile on my plate here, just so we have something to prop this fillet up onto. And I am going to cut the string with clean kitchen shears. Now, the other way to test doneness, I mean, you can rely on the 40 minutes. The other thing you want to do though is you just want to make sure that the fillet itself flakes. If the fish fillet flakes, then you know it's ready. So if I just kind of take it gently and it flakes away, which it is doing quite nicely, then I know that that is ready. So I'm just going to pull out my string. Now, with this particular piece that I made, I actually didn't use a whole side, like a whole fillet of fish. I actually just used 2 flatter pieces of salmon. So that was trout that I put into the oven, but this is salmon. And I just used 2 fillets, and I did the same thing, stuffed it with the same ingredients, and just used 2 pieces of string to keep it together. And I'm just going to put that up so beautiful. It looks great, but it not only looks great, I know this recipe tastes fabulous. Then I'm going to take a little bit of fresh dill because I love to garnish things. It just looks so nice. If you garnish that up a little bit with a little bit of dill, because dill and salmon go wonderfully, and even the trout will go nice with dill. So a little bit of fresh dill. And I always like to serve my fish with a little wedge of fresh lemon, because lemon and fish, classic pair, and that acid will just balance out the richness of the filling and the fattiness, that rich fatty fish that we have. So the acid is really necessary. Also remember, there's a little bit of acid, the balsamic vinegar that was in with the mushrooms. So there's a really nice combination of flavors here. Something else you can do if you want to get a nice coating that I forgot to do on that piece that went in is just brush it lightly with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of cracked pepper on top, and that's what I did with this fillet. I'm going to take that other piece out in a second and I can just do that. But I just want to taste this for you so that you know how wonderful this recipe is, because you're going to know by the look on my face. So I'm going to get my lemon. And this is such a wonderful recipe. You can make it for your spouse, your partner. You can make it for your kids, your parents, your roommates, whoever those special people are in your life. And actually, make it for you, because you know what? You gotta love yourself first, right? So here we go. And oh, by the way, you can serve this over anything, right? This could be cracked wheat. It could be quinoa, millet, rice, orzo, whatever. It could even be pasta, a cut pasta of some sort. So I just want to get a little bit of mushroom, a little bit of the cheese, and a little bit of my base. This will be an instant hit with your company. They'll love it, or with your family. It is so good, this recipe. Recommend it. Not just for Valentine's Day, any other day. So, we're going to do the dessert, but I'm going to do it on a second video. So watch for part 2, because that's going to be our Valentine's dessert. And watch in the comment section, because we're going to have the recipe and all the directions there. All right, take good care, everyone. Bye for now. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day.